Hey everyone, and welcome back to FORTIES Unfiltered. My name is Addie, and this is your go-to vlogcast where I share my stories, wisdom, and insights on life, especially life after loss. Join me today as I explore meaningful lessons and profound insights from my journey, all aimed at the gaining of wisdom in this fabulous new decade. So let's dive in and get real together. Get in, friend, because today we are talking about discomfort. Getting uncomfortable with being uncomfortable. And what does being uncomfortable mean? And how does being uncomfortable motivate you to make different moves in life? There have been so many times throughout my life where I have been in a state of discomfort. And I think that this idea of getting complacent and everything always flowing exactly the same way has never really been something that settled well with me. What I mean by that is I'm kind of unpredictable. And it isn't to say that I don't think things through or that I don't think about things at all. Sometimes I have probably made decisions over my life that to the outside could appear to be what some people in my family have told me is impulsive, which I find a little disturbing for the simple fact that while I may make decisions that seem to strike others as impulsive, I am the type of person that is always and forever going to put research and due diligence into any choice and decision I make. Typically, if I've made a decision, you've got to trust and believe that I've sat on and weighed out the options and the consequence of said decision multiple times in my mind and in my heart before I decided to fully just go full force with the decision that was made. But how do you know when decisions need to be made in your life? How do you know when it's the right time that says, okay, you know what? Something's got to change. And I think that it's usually that space of uncomfortability. Why do we want to be comfortable, right? We want to be comfortable because comfort is safe. Comfort is security. Comfort feels good because who doesn't want to be comfortable? And that's not to say that if you have a beautiful life, a beautiful spiritual space, a beautiful workspace, if you have a beautiful home, if you have beautiful surroundings, right? Like it's not to say that one should not be comfortable because I think that being comfortable is something that ideally we strive for. And there's definitely a difference between comfortable and complacent. But what happens when you get really uncomfortable? Discomfort is a catalyst that causes us to make changes within our lives and within our circumstances. When things in our immediate surroundings and circumstances start to become so uncomfortable, this can be the sign that is saying it's time to take a look at what is making you uncomfortable, evaluate what is making you uncomfortable, and then take the steps toward deciding on how we are going to go from discomfort back to a place of comfort and security. I'm going to give a little example here. So let's talk about the workspace and the workplace. A lot of times in the work that we do, there's a couple of things that I think people are seeking when we come into our careers or into the work or the service that we put out into the world. And it's not always the case that what we do is what we love and what we do is the service that we want to put out into the world. Sometimes people attain jobs or people attain work and you happen to just sort of move up the ranks and you end up in positions that maybe you wouldn't have thought that you were going to be in, but you're there. You're comfortable. The money you make is decent. Your boss is good to you. You get this amount of time off every year, or you get a certain amount of bonuses, or the company does this or that, right? So we get these things, these perks, these incentives that cause us to stay in places that may not be fulfilling, though. I hosted vision board parties for several years. When my brother passed away in 2013, that December, I was going like that for the rest of that whole year, from July when he died until December. It was like a rude awakening. It was shocking. It was a very turbulent time for me. Um, it was the first like close loss that was genuinely that close to home, but it was the second loss that I had endured that really sort of changed and transformed like the way I think about things, the way I think about life. It was my brother's death that really caused me to go into like a completely different spiritual space. Like I had to know the why are we here, the what is this for, the what is the meaning of life, what is purpose, right? Like, so his death really brought me into this extreme place of shadow work and of going inward and of reading books and of really trying to just like filter through to find the deeper purpose and meaning in life in general and then in my life specifically. And so what that looked like at the end of the year that year was vision boarding. I had done some studies on what vision boards were. Of course, I had read The Secret and had looked at the law of attraction and all of those different things. And while I have my own like personal opinions of like the depth of some of that stuff, at the core of it, I realized that what we focus on absolutely does expand, and that having things that we are focused on directly in front of us on a regular basis will keep it at the forefront of our minds. And with that being said, I built my first like big vision board and I pinned it up and I invited my friends to come. I hosted this gathering. It was beautiful. We toasted, we had snacks, we had a fireplace, we talked about the things that we wanted to release and let go of, and then we threw all of that into the fire as a releasing ceremony. And then we sat around and we thought and we dreamed and we crafted these new visions for ourselves. And this at the time felt so fulfilling. It felt so good. It felt very purposeful. And I am going to admit that pretty much everything on that vision board from that year manifested into my life. Not exactly within the upcoming year, following the vision board party, but within the next few years, I was able to look back at that board and go, wow, look at all of the things that genuinely are here in my life present that I put on that board. They were just thoughts that became things. So going back to the idea of work, you know, sometimes we come into a place and space where our work doesn't exactly always make us feel fulfilled. All of that was to say that I question you to ask yourself, is the work that I'm doing in my life right now making me fulfilled? Does this work fulfill me? Does this work allow me to give and to be of service? Does this work make me feel complete? And am I happy where I'm at? And so that was a question that I asked at a vision board party that I did. I went around the room and we said, how many people in this room are in love with their job? How many of you are in love with what you do? How many of you can raise your hand and say, I absolutely, genuinely, 100% hands down love what I do, and I would do it even if I didn't get paid to do it? And a few people raised their hand. But most of the time when that question goes forward, a majority of people are not raising their hand because a majority of people are not fully fulfilled in the work that they're doing. And so what happens when work starts to get uncomfortable? What happens when, all of a sudden, things in your workplace have started to change? things with your position has started to change. Maybe management has shifted and someone else has come in. Maybe you've taken on a role that you no longer feel that you want to perform or that you're no longer qualified for. Or maybe you've taken on a role that does not pay you enough anymore to do the shit that you have to do within that role, right? So when things start to get uncomfortable, do we take that as a sign that says, where is this discomfort coming from? What is causing this discomfort? And how can I move through this discomfort in a way that is going to move me towards something that makes me feel a little bit more comfortable? So I use work as an example because I feel like that is one thing that is like universally something within the lives of everyone. We all at some point are going to have a job or have a career or experience a space where we need to work. And I think that work is one of the main places where being uncomfortable and being discomforting can arise. Another scenario in real life where discomfort can show up is in relationships. You ever been in a relationship with somebody, and this could be like a romantic relationship, an intimate relationship, a friendship relationship. Again, this can be a employee, employer relationship. This can be any type of relationship. But you ever been in a relationship with somebody that the relationship is good, everything is cool, and then there comes this point where like something happens. There's this turning point in the relationship, and you start to become uncomfortable. Everything is like an argument or a fight or a disagreement, or things just don't seem to really be moving smoothly in this relationship anymore. Maybe one of you has changed. Maybe both of you have changed. Maybe someone moved. Maybe someone moved in, right? Maybe there's just, who knows? There could be like so many different scenarios for like what takes place in a relationship. But there's this build and this building of discomfort until finally people come to the climax. And some people snap when they get uncomfortable. Sometimes discomfort can build and build and build so much that you find yourself just like snap. And then, something crazy happens, or, you say something or do something that you probably wouldn't have or shouldn't have said had you taken the time out to evaluate that discomfort and make the necessary changes toward finding a place of comfort again. Discomfort is a signal, it is a sign, it is a intuitive nudge within the body, within your mind that is telling you, hey, knock, 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 something is wrong. Something is not fully aligning with what we desire or what we think that it should be, and this is causing a place and space of discomfort. I want to know, when was the last time you felt really uncomfortable in a situation? And what did you do about it? So if you are watching this here on the vlogcast on YouTube, I am asking and encouraging you to put a comment in the comment section below. I want to carry on the conversations with you guys. I really enjoy when you guys engage and when this gets very interactive. But when was the last time you were uncomfortable? For me, my husband died in November 2022. We were already in an uncomfortable place. The relationship had become to this uncomfortable place where we ended up making a decision to separate for a bit. There were thoughts and talks of divorce. There were talks about how we were going to co-parent and where we were going to live and what we were going to do if we separated, right? Like, these were very real conversations due to the level of discomfort that was taking place within the relationship. And then he died. And so if I thought that I was uncomfortable before in the relationship, I ain't never felt discomfort in the way that I feel it now. And this isn't to shade anyone in my life. Like, people have been great to me, the ones that have been great, but it is very discomforting to go from having your own home, your own space, your own things, your own way of life to now being, in someone else's space and being uncomfortable trying to make other people comfortable. And if you've ever had to live with somebody else for an extended period of time because of circumstances, you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. I noticed for me now, 2 years, almost 2 years later, that I am feeling as though my welcome has been kind of worn out. And not that anyone is saying that to me. No one is specifically saying, hey, you've been here too long and you better figure something out because it's time to go. But to myself, that is how I feel. I am at a level of discomfort, and the discomfort is beginning to grow. And so, because of that, I know that now is a time to step back and evaluate and process what is really genuinely making me uncomfortable in this space right now in time, and what are some things that I can do toward working to create a new level of comfort for myself. Being uncomfortable is out of control. Being uncomfortable will have you resentful. Being uncomfortable will have you nasty. Being uncomfortable can have you pissed off. Being uncomfortable really can put us just in a state and space in our mental that is not really good. So I am currently paying attention to the discomforts in my life. I am in a season where as I get ready to turn 40, I don't have room for discomfort in my life. I don't have room for relationships that are uncomfortable, friendships that are uncomfortable, spaces that are uncomfortable, work that is uncomfortable. I just don't have the time, energy, or capacity for it. My health is my wealth, and it is my number one priority. And this is a holistic space of health for me. This is my physical health, my mental health, my emotional health, all of the things that contribute to a well-rounded sense of well-being. And being uncomfortable is a space in your physical and in your emotional state that can really disrupt your well-being. So I encourage you to think about what is making you uncomfortable right now. Where are you feeling discomfort? And how can you go in and evaluate that? What does that mean for you? And what could or would ideally bring you back to a space of comfort? I know for me right now, I'm just going to throw this out there as a dream, because if you are listening to this and if you stick around, perhaps you will be able to bear witness to the transformation through my discomfort. But my ideal space of comfort right now feels like my children and I being in our own safe haven, in our own space. Comfort to me right now looks like being able to sit on my own couch in front of my own big screen TV in my underwear if I want to, relaxing and doing whatever. And so I'm not in a place where I can do that right now. And so I was in a place where I could do that before. So coming back to a space of comfort for me really looks like just being able to relax in my damn underwear on my own couch. It's amazing the things that we take for granted in life sometimes. And I never would have thought that I would be saying something so simple as I missed sitting on my own couch in my own living room watching my own TV. But y'all, I am in the feels. I miss it all, and I'm ready now to step back into society, right? I'm ready now to step back into a place of life that is going to bring me the joys and the comforts that I once had before. So, there it is there, you guys. That's all I have for today's conversation. We are navigating this thing called life, and here at 40, I'm talking about the discomforts because nobody has time at any age, but especially not when you hit up in them 40s. I just don't have time to be concerned with things that cause me discomfort. And I don't think that you have time to be concerned with things that cause you discomfort either, whether you're 22, whether you're 34, or whether you're 42. So, thank you guys for joining me on today's episode of the 40s Unfiltered vlogcast. I will see you guys in the next one. Please make sure that you drop those comments down below. I really want to know about the things that cause you discomfort, what makes you uncomfortable, and how you can move toward creating a new space of comfort. What does comfort ideally look like to you? So those are some points to ponder as you leave this vlogcast today. Thank you guys so much. And until next time, it's all love.